Alright, it might look like we're doing the same today. We're working with a marabou jig and float, but I'm using a slip float today. I'm a little bit different, and working with a marabou jig and float at pickerel. Stopped at a little pond, and now I'm looking to get in some bluegill, maybe some crappie and perch. We'll see what's here, but I'm just going to be talking about fishing with and using marabou jig and a slip float, and we'll be talking about that and the fishing. Two nice things about this rig is you get a nice smooth cast because your weight is condensed. So it's like casting just a lure with no float. The other nice thing about this is you can slide your knots, your stop knots, down or up, and you can get the level that you want. All right. Oh wow, that's a big perch. It's a nice perch. That's a good eating size one. Went to the black. I'm gonna drop this down. Well, we had one, took a few casts. Let's see if there's a few more here. Now I don't know if you can see down there. The nice thing with the bobber is you get a nice vertical presentation and up down action, and you can just hang your jig, suspend it, and just keep it in a zone, and the fish love that. And you can only do that to get that true effect. You can only do that with a float. So that's the concept with the slip float, is your whole kit and caboodle's all together, so you can get a nice smooth cast. That float's going to slide up to your depth. I'm keeping it short. This is a shallow pond, and that knot's going to stop that bead is going to stop that knot's going to stop that bead, hold your float, and you're going to hold your depth. So I'm going to keep that about a foot down. So we're working the slip float, slip bobber today, marabou jigs. And you can just as well, if you don't tie your own marabou, you can just as well use those there cut off grubs, or I think they call them the magnets. Tiny 1/64 ounce jig head. That's all I'm using. I think they pushed out now. Oh, let's see. That's a good one. That's a good gill. Get up here, bud. I'm using the ultra light tackle today. That's a nice bluegill. This is a smaller jig. That's about it's a size, no, it's supposed to be 14. I think it's more of a 12 hook. One down here, it's a size 8 hook. We'll be using the slip bobber here. Slip because it slides. And I always get this mixed up, but you want to drop your bead on first. Just slide your bead on. Behind that, I'm going to slide on your float. I'm going to put it this way just because it's a little wider on the end. Something in there? Nope. And slide on your float. And the whole concept is your float, your bead is going to be stopped at the knot. Oop. There's our knot. Like so. And then it's going to slide down to our jig, so we get a smooth cast, and it's going to hold our proper depth. Whoa! That is a nice pickerel. Get him up here. Like I said, we're using the slip float. jig. And we can get him on his way. Tiny little jig. Big old pickerel. Real pretty fish. I'm just getting warm up here, taking a few casts in this here little pond. And that's what we're using today. Going with the slip float. I have this rigged up now. I'm using Tandem flies. There's my stopper knot on top. So that brings it down to the level. And I have one on the bottom. And 2 beads, as you can see. The bottom bead keeps my dropper fly free. And I still got a fairly good casting zone. And I'm using Tandem flies. It's been a little slow. I got a chartreuse and then a black olive. Give them a little choice. Feels a little different. That's what is that? Kind of dodging left and right. Oh my God! It's a double header. Double header bluegill. Maybe they showed up. I was worried if I had them tight on a chartreuse the other day. That's a bead-headed jig. That's why I felt like I had the mother gill. There's a double header. I wonder if maybe they're thick. I thought I saw a crappie flashing about. So I'm using the sliding floats today. Slip bobber. We need a basic rig here. We have our marabou jig, our sliding float, and our bead. Now what that bead does is, I have this set. No, I'm gonna drop it lower. This is the knot. This is the bobber stop knot. Pretty much so just a uni knot. Right there. I'll show you how to tie it. And that I can easily slip down like so. So when my float and my bead come up, they come up and stop right by my knot. I am just surprised that I got free rein. No pickerel smacking them up. There we go. Got a big one over there. We're going to lose him in the trees. Using this here ultralight tackle. Oh, that's a crappie. That's a crappie. All right, we got crappie, pickerel, and bluegill on the day. Which one did he take? That's a nice crappie. He's warm. That's interesting. He is much warmer. Oh, that's a keeper too. He's much warmer than the water. Now let me show you how to tie this here bobber stop knot. What you want to use is, this is 4-pound mono is my main line. So I'm going to up that. I'm using 10-pound monofilament line. So you line those 2 strands, you cut about an 18, whatever 10-inch strand off, or like a big long tail end. You take it, you make a loop around, and it's really just a uni knot. You can see I'm holding my loop, and then I go through my loop, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times or so. Kind of get it going, moisten, and bring it down. Tighten that up. Make sure it slides, and then clip your tag ends.